Right. So yeah, he's like a walking memory for me, where I'm like, I don't remember any of this shit.
He posted this video of Dave just doing like a tour of HQ 2, I guess.
And remember how big we thought it was?
We thought this shit was baller. I can't. Let me just
still do, by the way.
No,
I also,
you won't. You will not when you look at this video.
I look at all through rose-colored lenses where, like, I love the old office, but guess what? I fucking hated the old office when I was there.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. He's opening the door to say, like, this is podcast studio B. And I remember, like, thinking, I wasn't like, this is amazing, but I was like, wow.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah.
And it looks so goddamn mediocre. Watch this.
Yeah. That place, dude, we...
I mean, like,
that place, that shit sucks.
It sucks. It sucks.
Look at it. Look at that. That looks like an interrogation room.
It doesn't have the fucking sound.
I know.
No.
It's official.
Oh, when you mean just a strip of like asbestos-filled like padding?
You guys don't at least have the fucking pipes in here. We like half the time in the winter when we're doing the podcast, it sounds like the Astros dugout. It's just banging.
You guys also have 7th Ave. Right?
Oh yeah. There's a fire engine that goes by. It's like, all right.
That's the trade-off for that is this. I feel like I'm in like a bomb shelter.
Yeah, you are. You guys are in a cave.
No windows, no nothing.
This is Hitler's bunker.
Yeah. Like we'll all end up just eating cyanide in here one day.
I think if you ask like most of the people who work here, like when was the last time Fights was in the office, they'd say 2019.
We come right in.
Yeah.
Hide in here, bro.
This is what I told Pete because he's starting to look for the Chicago office. I was like, I just want space. Like if I have to commute, that's fine. I want a basketball court. I want space.
Remember when we went to Long Island City?
Yeah.
To look at places? And
yes.
They were legit like Fantasy Factory sizes. There was one that already had a basketball hoop. Remember that?
Yes.
I was like, why?
Yes.
Who was here before?
Yeah.
But we would have. That was one of the original things that Dave was talking about, like Rob Dyrdek and the Fantasy Factory, and we would have had basketball hoops and trampolines and all that shit. And sometimes I wish we did, but not for all that shit. I just wish we had bigger rooms.
I think
if we had all the. That would be so much.
We needed,
Long Island City.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing.
We needed to be here to start, but now we're at a point where
people
like some of these shows are big enough. Like your guys' show, ours, like some other big podcasts here. Like people will come to us. They know like
that was the problem,
right?
We said we need to be near all the other, like when you come to do the Tonight Show and you come to do some appearance in Times Square and all that shit, you can just like peel off.
But I'll say that like we're nobodies, and when we have to go do a show in Brooklyn or DeStefano out in Staten Island,
like,
you gotta be
right.
Yeah, you gotta have a place in Manhattan.
No, it's true. But
also, if I showed up and it was like a goddamn fun house, I'd be like, oh, all right, I get it.
And that's what I was like, when we're looking at offices for Chicago, I was like, look, obviously there's probably less guests that go, there are less guests that go through Chicago than LA or New York, but if you make it big enough and we're big enough, people who go to the city will be like, I have to go there.
Destination.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
you're gonna be top dog.
It becomes like we're not Jimmy Fallon, but like it's like, oh, we're here, we got to go there.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. You will be like the media stop in Chicago,
right.
I imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's sports radio and stuff, right?
Sports
but like
radio,
that
podcast,
right?
That's it.
So I think you will be able to capture almost the same amount of people just because, like, hey, if you're here, you hit us up. Like,
I'm also just fucking done with guests, man. I don't care anymore.
Really?
Come do the show. Don't come do the show. I don't care.
I go back and forth. I do love interviewing people, and I love when an interview hits. But there are definitely times where it's like we'll agree to someone, and then it will pop up in the calendar and be like, "Wait, what? Fuck, I did that."
The interviews that hit, like real, like we're being totally
the
honest,
best.
They're the best,
The
but
best.
they're.
One of them.
10%?
Yeah, no, they're hard to do.
Maybe 10%?
No, we had like Jules was here. Julian Edelman was here. He watches like probably once a month in the fall. He watches Thursday Night Football with us, and then we start the show with him. That's so much better than an interview because it's not like we're just talking football with a guy who won Super Bowls. So it's like you get like a guy who we're friends with, but also he can speak on expertise.
Well, I also, again, to reference this podcast we did yesterday, like where it was, it's very easy to get caught up in like doing an interview and like hosting an interview and
Yeah.
having a guest, when it really should just be like you're hanging out with the
Well,
person.
so-
and it's very, you got to find the right guy that you or girl or just guest in general that you can like just hang with and not be like, hello, thank you for coming. Let
Right.
me ask you the questions. What are you promoting? And blah blah blah. But when it's not that vibe, it's awesome.
Yes.
But it's hard to capture that.
Right. So my big like the math that I've got in my head through the years of doing it is like you got to have one big guest a month. Because the way I look at it is people are here to listen to you guys. People are here to listen to me and PFT. The one big guest brings in some new audience, and then they're like, "Oh, these guys are funny. I'm staying."
I never thought about it like that. I never really gave
because
much...
you get guests to me are not the show. It's bringing in new like when we interview like. Obviously Rodgers was a huge guest, but like let's even say Luke Fickell, the Cincinnati head coach. Like if you interview the Cincinnati head coach, I guarantee you there's 1,000 Cincinnati fans that are like, "Oh,
Stick
our
around
coach is
or
on
whatever."
this podcast.
Yeah.
Let me go
and
check
then
it
hang
out."
and
And then they're like, "Oh, these
let me
guys are funny."
subscribe. Yeah.
Right. And then you
Yeah.
just do that accumulating over the years. So to me, it's not like you need
But
a home
that's-
run every time. You
I
just need
think-
it once in a while.
I think that it works with sports.
Yeah.
And I do think it works with comedy.
I think it definitely works in comedy.
Where comedians go on
Dude,
shows.
Stav was like one of our biggest guests this summer. Yeah.
It's that other like that middle ground of entertainment where it's like, are there like diehard fans of this specific actor that follow him? I guess there are. I guess there are people who are like, I love Mark Wahlberg, so I watch anything he's on, and then those guys were funny. But sometimes I think it's like you just got to do it to keep up with the Joneses.
You got to keep up with Jones, and then there's also the element of like you have to take shots because you don't know who you're going to click with.
Yeah.
Like Jerry O'Connell has become like a recurring.
He's like a must listen for you guys.
I get so excited when we're about to do a Jerry O'Connell interview because he preps for it and he's very funny, and it's like we never would have had this relationship if we didn't say yes to a guy who maybe not like I was just like I love Stand By Me, so let's have him on.
Yeah.
But like that's not someone that would have jumped off the page the first time, and now he's become like a legit friend.
It is so fun when you randomly do it with like, I just want to meet this person because I love the show they did when they were 9 years
Yeah,
old.
oh yeah, big time. Yeah,
I'll do like I love this thing they were 30 years ago. Let's do it.
Yeah, like I have one question for you. I'll figure out the other questions, but I have one question.
Yeah,
for you.
I want a picture, and I need you to clear up one. But that's because when you're like 8 years old or whatever, you're satisfying like your childhood dream,
right? Right.
Whenever a cast member of Criminal Minds comes on the guest list, they get highlighted. I'll tell you that.
I would say that
Shamar Moore, hell yeah.
No, I can't wait for the Shamar Moore interview. I'm gonna be sick that day. Shout out Shamar. I think it's like I think guests are like nights of going out. It's always the nights that you're like, I'm not going out. I don't want to go out. And then you get talked into it, and it's like, wow, that was the best night ever.
That was good. Yeah.
And there are plenty of guests where I've been like, kind of an asshole about it, like kind of like I don't know if you're big enough or whatever. And then I'm like, thank God we said yes, because that was the best interview we've done.
Right, and I mean, shout out to Kelly and Peggy who like they kind of push us sometimes, and I appreciate that because if I didn't get pushed, I would just be like, no, we're just gonna have like the people we know on every time.
I'm so easily walked over. I'll say like a hard no to a guest, and Kelly will go, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "You're absolutely right. Yes."
Our problem is we say yes at like different times, and then it won't happen for like 5 months. So
that's
like
also
we'll
like
say
going out when you agree to go out for a night on Monday, and then it's Saturday night. You're like, I don't want to.
We'll say yes to someone in June, and then like in November, be like, well, we got football, and this like we really don't want to interview, but they always end up being better than we expect.
We almost